Hello everyone and welcome to This Week in Net. This is a special episode about our first innovation week of the year, Security Week. I'm your host, João Tomé, based in Lisbon, Portugal, and with me to talk about Security Week we have Adam Martinetti and Alex Dunbrack, both senior product managers. Hello, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having us. It's been an exciting week for all the stories over Security Week. I know Adam and I are looking forward to sharing more and talking about all of them at a high level. Again, a lot went on. It was a busy week, and we had some great stories spanning all 5 days and all five kind of initiatives or themes, as you want to call them. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been so exciting. It's been very hectic, but one of the privileges for us is that when we coordinate these, we get to go deep in a lot of product areas that we're not really experts in, and we get to learn a lot about the things that each other are working on. And that's been so interesting and so rewarding for me.
For those who don't know, you're both in San Francisco, right?
Yep, San Francisco based, yeah. Though we're all spread out now, and all the authors over the whole week, all over the world, honestly.
True, that's a typical thing about Cloudflare. We're really global, and the blog post as well, and the engineering and all of the things typically are really global for sure. This was a very busy week, as we were mentioning. Last week we had here in the show Michael Tremonti explaining a bit of what to expect. Now we have the actual things announced. Some products are betas, others are GA, general available already. Others are just cool improvements, even on the dashboard. Some really cool, to be honest. Really surprised about that. So, in a nutshell, what are the key takeaways people should take from this Security Week in 2025?
Yeah. Maybe it's helpful even to get started just in talking about what was Security Week, what are innovation weeks at Cloudflare for the most part. Security Week is our big week to, like you said, share everything we've been working on, over the past year, but very focused at our security audience, our CISOs, our security leaders, security and IT operators that care about improving the security of the organization. We have our birthday week, we have developer week, which we're always looking forward to, but this was really our opportunity to share more, very focused on the security that our customers are able to build up using our Cloudflare products. And so, like I think I mentioned, speaking just to this Security Week, we had some themes over the course of the week that I can start with, maybe just to recap a little bit. On Monday, we had a great theme around securing the internet, our big community focused post, how we are involved in the industry that we get to play in all the time, and how are we being good stewards there. So we had some great stories on our efforts there. On Tuesday, we talked about our threat intelligence efforts, and this goes from our threat intel feeds all the way to having a single security posture platform, and we'll talk more about that too. Wednesday was a huge day for AI security stories, and so that spanned both what we're seeing in the AI security world itself, but also what are we doing in the AI world to make our customers more secure, especially as that ramps up. So we'll recap that too. On Thursday, our stories really revolved around simplifying security. As any security stakeholder will know, a more simplified security landscape makes everyone more secure in the end. If things are easier and more straightforward to manage, everyone benefits from that. And then on Friday, we closed it off with a data security everywhere all the time theme, which really spoke to our products and our solutions that allow our customers to make sure that their crown jewels, the data at the end of the day, is secure no matter what they do. So that was that at a high level, and I'm sure that we'll jump in day by day and talk about some of our favorites too.
Sure. Before we jump into the Security Week Hub that shows us all the blog posts that were published or all the segments that were done, some really interesting. Adam, why not talk a bit about the simplicity? Because one of the things Michael Tremonti spoke about last week was that simplicity, making things more simple, easy to connect, is quite an important thing throughout the week in a sense, right?
It's very important, and it's a challenge. There's so much information that we see that we present to our customers, and making that simple and optimizing it for maybe someone who only has 30 minutes a week to spend in the Cloudflare dashboard, and making sure that we really get the most out of their time and help them secure their own infrastructure the best way they can. It's harder than it sounds. One of my favorite features that we announced there is called Cloudy, actually, and this is our AI assistant. And unless you're a power user of Cloudflare, one thing that you might not realize is that some customers might have 50 or 60 different security rules stacked on each other. And if you change the order of one of those rules, it will really impact the behavior of traffic on your website. And so let's say you're new to a company, you're onboarding as a security analyst, you need to understand what do all of these rules do. This is really going to save you some time. And this is available both in our application security products and our zero trust products as well. So whether this is like a firewall rule that you're writing or a gateway policy, this is now a succinct way to kind of summarize this, help optimize this so that these things can be more readable in the future. And I really think it's a really cool use of AI to make things more easy and understandable for everyone.
Did you notice like specific use cases there that it made a difference?
I honestly haven't. It's been a blur for me this past week. It's been really focusing on
So many blog posts, right?
Shipping these features, and I'm going to take a retrospective look at this as soon as we're done. Alex,
what I can say about that one too, and I think it speaks honestly to this overlap between just what are innovation weeks at Cloudflare, which we've already talked about, and security week specifically. In that case of Adam mentioned our cloudy AI assistant, showing that in certain areas of the product, at least to start, it shows what we're looking at going forward. And I think it kind of gives our customers and our users a taste of where we think our products are going, in this case, from a security lens. So like Adam mentioned, we started with our web application firewall and our gateway policies in Cloudflare One, and giving our users the ability to understand what are their policies doing, maybe when they have hundreds. But then we get to have this fun ideation around like where is that functionality going to go next in our products? This is not the end for this kind of thing, and it's our first chance to really share with the world, hey, we've got this tool that we're building. You're going to see it in more parts of the product. Let us know where you want to see that. Let us know what's important to you, just because we're so feedback driven from our product side of the house. So that's like the beauty of a security innovation week at Cloudflare is it's not, like you said, just GA features necessarily. It's these things where we get to highlight a little bit of what's to come, and I think tease that out. So that's a blast these weeks for sure.
Another one of those features around simplifying security that I think really falls into a similar vein, Alex, and is one that excites me a lot personally, is the effort that we're doing to be able to turn off port 80 at our edge. Now, if you've run a web server yourself before, this is a pretty easy thing to do. But the challenge comes when you have millions and millions of websites using the same shared infrastructure, and not all of them want to turn it off. And so figuring out how we can, at like the IP level, refuse traffic on port 80 to help make the internet more secure for the websites that are ready to take that step. It's a really, really interesting engineering challenge, and it's taking something that's simple for one website, but very complex when you scale up in the millions. That was one of the more enjoyable ones for me to read and follow the progress.
Makes sense. I'm sharing our security hub here at cloudflare.com/security-week. Several already mentioned blog posts are here. We already mentioned a few. Where should we start specifically here?
Maybe at the start, that post-quantum post is a super fascinating, interesting one, and I think showcases both Cloudflare's technological edge and the innovation that we do there, but also how we are recognizing the trends in the world. This story, and I encourage everyone to go check it out too, speaks to our post-quantum efforts. And if you're not all that familiar with quantum computing or what this post-quantum world that we always talk about is, essentially our modern cryptographic standards are expected over the next decade or so to essentially be broken by this concept of a quantum computer. And there's a whole rabbit hole of understanding what exactly quantum computing is. But we recognize at Cloudflare, the world is going this direction. This will happen one day or another, and we need to be ready given our our responsibility as an internet provider to a large extent your critical infrastructure. And so, I think we talk about in this blog, we do a nice job of describing, especially for our zero trust products, how we're making them safe before this is such a problem where encryption is just broken in general and no one knows what to do. We've taken those steps here, and that was a big theme for Monday. This was our highlighted flagship post about what we're doing, and this isn't the end for our post-quantum efforts either, which is, again, just another fun part about this blog post especially. Yeah.
And there's already over 35% of non-bot HTTPS traffic that touches Cloudflare today, post-quantum secure, which is great, but it will increase in the future, which is also great.
Not going away, and I think we'll only hear more and more from Cloudflare as we get to this point. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a little bit higher now with checking on Radar, Cloudflare Radar. One can see the percentage there.
That's cool.
The Monday had more perspectives on email security, in this case for Cloudflare for campaigns, so giving back in a sense as well, but also phishing, automation, helping phishing, password reuse. Should we focus on any other from that day?
I thought the password reuse one was really fascinating. One of the things that I think we didn't highlight as much in this blog as we have in the past is how we actually do this. So there's obviously some big security concerns and privacy concerns if you want to try and find out if a password is potentially reused. And some previous blog posts that we mentioned, and now link, I think, from this blog, really go into our efforts around making sure that we're doing that in a way that's secure, and we're not doing that in clear text, and we're not storing anyone's passwords in memory at our edge. So this is a really good highlight into how we do that. And this is an initiative that really kind of comes back to our mission statement, where we feel like our job is to help build a better internet. And this is one where we can't take action on our own. We can highlight for our customers when there is a password that's been reused that we've seen leaked in a database online, but we can't actually work to reset that password. And most of our customers wouldn't want us to simply block a user for using reusing a password. So we can give someone a flag, and what we want to really do now is work on partnering with application owners to figure out how we can integrate with them and better make that a really seamless experience of upgrading from a leaked password to one that's unique and more secure.
Makes sense.
And I think the numbers here are really striking, just around how many passwords we see reused at any given time.
It is.
And it's no surprise that bots in particular are a big driver of reused passwords, and that's usually along the lines of brute force attacks and credential stuffing attacks.
More on the week specifically. Where should we go next?
Adam, maybe do you want to talk at all about Wednesday's post about Cloudflare for AI and the larger effort there, maybe?
Yeah. This one was is a big topic for us and something that our customers are asking about more and more. In essence, the way that I've started to hear people talk about the journey that companies have to embracing large language models and AI in general seems very similar to what we've heard before when people talk about moving from on-prem infrastructure to the cloud, where there's a business need to drive this to modernize, and they want to do it quickly, but there might not be a lot of in-house expertise. So they're really looking for someone to help them make that journey faster and do it in a way that's safe and secure. And so that's really what Cloudflare AI does. It packages our ability to help you build AI applications very quickly, where we're running large language models at the edge, so you get the performance benefits of using that, and it's also very easy to use with there's no maintenance effort because we're maintaining those models for you. But then we're also helping you make those models more secure as well. So if you're running a model, you want to make sure that it doesn't leak any of your PII, and we can help you do that. And we can also help discover any new models that someone might be running on your network to make sure that you're in whatever compliance needs that you need to conform to. And then on the zero trust side, a lot of the concern that we hear is around employees who might be using third-party LLMs that are very helpful, but they might be inadvertently leaking data out. So if I want to ask a question to an AI model about how something at Cloudflare works, or maybe how I might rephrase a new product announcement, there's the risk that what I'm doing is really leaking proprietary information ahead of time. And so our zero trust products help companies get a handle on that, and they can restrict specific personas or work groups from being able to use those third-party LLMs.
There's a bit for everyone almost here in this AI perspective. Also for content creators, in the dashboard, AI audit.
Yeah, the content creator work is really the closest to my heart. I work primarily with our bot management product, and really what we're hoping to do here with the new features that we're releasing specifically around the AI labyrinth and preventing unauthorized LLM scraping is to really change the calculation there for anyone who might be tempted to scrape data without first coming to an agreement with the content creator. In the past, it's really been kind of a risk-free environment in certain ways. And we want to make that riskier, and we want to incentivize where we can people who are building a new AI model to come to an agreement with the people who are creating this amazing content so that we can preserve the livelihood of those folks and maintain their way of doing business.
This labyrinth is definitely interesting perspective, especially using AI as well for this is quite interesting.
Yeah, there was actually a really interesting internal debate that we had when we were building this product. We knew that we wanted to use AI because it's a really good way to generate the same type of content, but looking slightly different over and over and over again to infinity. It's a really good way to do that. But our initial proof of concept that we had was to make up something. So make up something that's not true, but kind of sounds truthy. And we that was actually flagged by a couple of our engineers who had this big concern, and a very justified one, around how that might actually promote disinformation around the internet and kind of spread things that weren't facts. And that was a really great concern. And we ended up, what we did instead is prompting our large language model instead to talk specifically about things that are in the public domain, so scientific facts, and just restate things that we know to be true again and again. So we solve the same problem, which is create unique content on the fly so that it's not easily recognizable as something that we're regurgitating to help defeat scraping, but at the same time we're not promoting misinformation in any way.
Makes sense, and it shows here how it works in the dashboard specifically, in the security settings with a button, a single toggle to make it available. It's in beta, right?
That's absolutely right. So this is something that we're going to continue to build on. We want to make it more and more difficult for scrapers to be able to recognize this content, and we want to blend in as much as we can with the website that we're protecting at the time.
I was just going to say, that's exactly what I love about Security Week or Innovation Weeks in general, that we get to work on these cool kinds of projects that are innovative and are finding new ways to do certain things with the internet that we've got. So that kind of story is no surprise to me that we're tackling them.
There's also this perspective, an overview look at cryptography, watermarks for AI-generated content. That is also there specifically, right? And also the firewall for AI perspective.
I like the one, the watermarking AI-generated content, because it's not us saying, look, we've released something new, here's a new feature. It's really us attempting to engage with the internet at large. It's our research team showing kind of where they're at in terms of their efforts to watermark image content. And of course, AI is one of the biggest use cases for why you would do this, but it's not the only one. And so it's really a good, here's our proof of concept, here's what we've done so far, in inviting people to have a look at our repository and work with us to help get to a secure future where, if you are a content creator who has made some amazing artwork or photography, this is something where you can help preserve your own livelihood and make sure that if you do want an AI model to reproduce that content, that they're doing so with your explicit permission.
What I love about these blog posts is that they are very specific, technical in some cases. Even if you just are curious and want to understand how things work, how we figure out some things, some of the blog posts are really deep into that, and that's also a part of the Cloudflare blog culture in a sense, which is interesting.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's the culture of Cloudflare. I'm thinking in my mind, that's like one of the, just a shameless plug here. People are so smart that work at Cloudflare, and they're working on these cool kind of innovative research-like projects, and we get to see our customers benefit from that. I mean, how cool is that? That's so awesome.
On that note, I think, at least for me, the most intimidating blog post, to skip ahead a little bit, is our lattice crypto primer on Friday. It's about 30 pages, and if you love math, I think it's the post for you specifically. I remember my first all-staff meeting at Cloudflare back in 2017. Our head of research at the time, Nick Sullivan, was showcasing some of the work that we were doing even back then on post-quantum cryptography, and he was going into the math that we do for lattice cryptography, and it didn't even look like math to me. It was one of the most it invoked so much imposter syndrome about starting to work at Cloudflare with all these incredibly smart people who were working on, really forward-thinking projects.
You mentioned that, and it's quite interesting to see that it connects to a very popular blog post from Cloudflare's history, back from, if I'm not mistaken, 2013. It's this one that is tagged here in that blog post, actually. This is one of the most popular blogs from Cloudflare, from Nick Sullivan, back from 2013, and it's all related to this, to mathematics, to this relevant part of cryptography, and it's mentioned here as well.
It's wild, over 10 years ago, and just like look at the progress and the efforts made around this. That's so neat.
Yeah, and you can see the build-up, something that was started several years ago. There's a build-up from others that prepares specifically for this type of post-quantum cryptography, really.
I know
this is really
took
cool
us all the way to the bottom of the Security Week Hub, and I apologize for doing that. I just had to share that one. If we go back up to exactly where we were, one of my favorite posts around AI is around the work that we're doing on Page Shield. So this is our third-party JavaScript prevention. We're looking at third-party scripts, and we're looking for things that might be trying to exfiltrate or insert malicious code. And the thing that I loved about this blog post was it taught me something new about how AI can be used specifically to harden security. So it was really concrete. It wasn't, AI marketing. It was really how we specifically used AI to improve our third-party script security. It taught me something about the internet too, and why this is so hard, and how there's like such a big diversity of scripts, and how obfuscated JavaScript can be such a pain to try and suss out what exactly it's doing. And it really showcased how Cloudflare's advantage. So the fact that we have over, I think it's around 20% of the internet behind Cloudflare at this point, how we see over 1 billion requests a day, how that actually really helps feed our security models and make a better ability for us to detect these malicious scripts.
Makes perfect sense. And again, sometimes is AI as a problem because attackers are using AI. Other times is AI helping. In this situation, it's helping. So different use cases for sure. Where should we go next? There's also something close to heart, really. Cloudflare Radar Security Insights added new DDoS and leaked credentials and bot data sets. For those who don't know, Cloudflare Radar is our tool for insights, data insights about the internet, and includes security as well, of course. Anything we should mention more?
I just love looking at that every day. In particular, seeing where DDoS attacks are coming from in real time, I think it's one of the coolest things to just kind of look at, almost like an internet weather report.
Actually, why not show it?
Yeah, why not? Radar has to be one of the coolest, just kind of public free offerings that we have out there. It's definitely a bookmarked page for me.
Yeah, it has a lot of different perspectives, including the autonomous systems distribution regarding the application layer DDoS attacks. So a cool one, and also email trends. More recently, more things to share with our audience.
Yeah. We spoke a little bit about the simplifying security narrative that we had on Thursday. We talked a little bit about Cloudy, and we talked a little bit about blocking just HTTP traffic over the internet. But maybe we can talk a little bit about what we cover on Friday. That was very data security focused, and we had a bunch of stories out of our Cloudflare One Zero Trust platform, and that's near and dear to my heart. That's the area that I get to work on all the time. A few key stories that I think are maybe worth recapping here. Our first is that AWS and GCP story. So our CASB product, which has historically really only scanned and integrated with SaaS applications, your Google Workspace, your Microsoft 365s, GitHub, Slack, so on, to scan them for misconfigurations and sensitive data exposure. So maybe you have credit card numbers in a Google Doc, or social security numbers in a Word doc in OneDrive. That's what we were detecting before, but this is a very interesting shift for this product area in looking to cloud vendors now. And while you might go, it's just another integration, just like adding Zoom or Workday to the integrations we support. This is a little bit of a fundamental shift for this product area in the sense that we're now looking at these more complex vendors that are our cloud service providers. So they're starting with AWS and GCP over there, but looking at your storage buckets, looking in those objects and going, hey, is there sensitive data the way that I define that within our buckets that maybe we don't know about? And we're hearing a lot about that. So, and again, at the end of the day, the data for most organizations is what you're trying to keep secure. Now, you're trying to keep your employees secure, you're trying to keep your applications secure, but really it's because of the data that's behind those things that bad actors want access to, right? And then maybe one more AI plug that actually occurred.
Alex, actually, before we move on to this one, I know that we've turned this on personally at Cloudflare. You know, we use all our own products. I've gotten some alerts about GCP items. Is there anything that we can share about that, about being our own customer and how the security team was pushing for this?
Yeah. So like any large organization, you're going to have a cloud footprint and multiple vendors. Often is the case. But these vendors don't necessarily have the best native tooling when it comes to security visibility into their own products. And so we found, in our own testing, we definitely call it here Customer Zero, which is our own security team. They are the first that we are building for at the end of the day. We recognized they maybe didn't have the best visibility historically into what do these objects contain. Maybe it's data that's supposed to be there, but do they even have that visibility in the first place? So throughout our Cloudflare One platform, this gives operators, security teams, IT teams, the ability to look very targeted at different buckets in their cloud providers, and then look for information that they're interested in. So it might be it might be credentials, it might be credit card numbers, financial data, or it might be something that regex can detect, and you're looking for those patterns. So gives our users the flexibility, but does a nice job in terms of identifying that kind of information that maybe they didn't necessarily know about. And that product definitely has a lot of aha moments that we get from customers in the sense of, oh, I didn't know that data was there. And we're glad at least to provide tooling that lets them figure that out sooner rather than later. Yeah.
And this is really focus on sensitive things, sensitive data, which is quite necessary and interesting, right?
And what it allows for too, and us starting with AWS and GCP here, obviously they're not the only cloud vendors out there, cloud storage, and it allows us to get feedback, gather feedback, and understand, is this working the way our customers expect it to? Is it solving their challenges the way that we understand it? and allows us then to look at our own services like R2, right? And being able to scan natively for sensitive data detection in R2 down the road. So this is kind of, again, a Security Week and Innovation Week, us dipping our toes towards new functionality and learning from that once it's out in the wild with our customers and users. Also on Friday, I can speak about that one right next to it, that RDP without the risk. It's a super interesting use case here that actually stems from an acquisition Cloudflare made mid last year with the Bastion Zero acquisition. And so this is some new functionality that's going to be in closed beta as we announced it last week. And there's a sign up form linked in this blog post for those interested. But for those that have ever worked with RDP, as a connection method, you'll know that it's maybe not the newest or the most modern, and as a result, maybe not the most secure either. And for organizations, I think this team realized that have contractors or third-party employees to some degree trying to get access to internal resources and servers via RDP. You need a way to make sure that what they're doing there is done in the most secure fashion, because again, maybe they're contractors, maybe they aren't full-time employees. And so this experience that we're starting to test with our customers gives them the ability to access RDP connections over the browser, which is really interesting. There were previously duct-taped approaches to achieving this kind of outcome, but finally, Cloudflare listens, and I know this team was listening very closely of how do we make that more simple, more straightforward? Again, it all ties together and ultimately more secure for our customers in the end. And this is what they're sharing for it through our Access for Infrastructure product.
In a previous life, I was doing IT and did have to remote in. And so that's the reason why this is one of my favorite blog posts, is because past me would have been over the moon to have such an easy way to do this sort of thing when you're on call.
100%.
Yeah, simplicity, making it easier. Yeah, those are elements quite interesting and important in a sense as well. Last but not least, maybe we should share that Cloudflare was named a leader in web application firewall solutions in the 2025 Forest report, or also here with great classifications there as well.
This is our second report in a row that we've been named a leader. The report names us as the provider with the most strong current offering as well, which we're really proud of.
Makes sense. And we introduced a new application security experience. We already mentioned a bit of that, of the dashboard and news there. This is really cool and redesigned and really interesting. The dashboard is definitely has more value as a dashboard of security in this case specifically.
Yeah, I think I could talk about this a little bit. It was something that I was a little bit closer to. We, as a company, we've heard from our customers more and more that we have to protect more surface area. And as we've grown to do that, our dashboard hasn't necessarily gone through a redesign every time. And so things got a bit unwieldy in terms of the number of surface areas and the number of submenus that we were showing. We were very often guilty of what they call shipping the org chart, where if there was an internal team, that internal team would have an external menu. And really, that's not how our customers thought about things. And what what we ended up asking our customers to do is essentially understand all the pricing and the packaging, internal features of everything that we offered, just to do basic tasks. And so this process of redesigning the dashboard, specifically like you're showing right here, this was something that took us multiple iterations over the course of at least 6 months. One of the best parts about this was it was a really good excuse to reach out to everyone who uses our dashboard. So plenty of external customers, our community members, our internal teams that will do these things for customers, and really understand what every single user journey through our security section looks like and where we can optimize that. Now, the page that you're showing right now is really kind of our embodiment of simplified security, where what we want to give customers is a summary. If you only have 5 minutes to look in the Cloudflare dashboard, what are the things related to application security that you should be paying attention to the most, and how we can kind of distill everything to that 30,000 foot view.
Analytics as well, you mentioned. There's a lot to explore there.
Just one last plug on that really quickly is we've turned the dashboard on for everyone now. If for any reason you decide to turn it off, please take the time to tell us why. We're really listening to everything that people say in response, and we know that this is going to be a continual process where we keep improving and making this better.
Here in the hub, we have Cloudflare TV segments, very specific ones, really interesting ones to go over, press releases, and also past security weeks. So a lot to see and explore if you want to learn more specifically. Anything we should mention as well that we're missing?
I think we've done a pretty good job of covering the week. There was a lot that went on, but it definitely was one for the books from our perspective. And I'll also say too, just the number of people that were involved behind the scenes at Cloudflare on getting these security weeks off the ground. Adam, myself, and there's a whole team behind this thing beyond even just the blog post authors. So a huge thank you to everyone at Cloudflare that had a role in this year's Security Week. But I don't know, Adam, anything else that we haven't covered yet from this past week?
Oh, it's so hard. With so many blog posts, I always feel like we're missing something. But if we covered every single one, we'd keep you here for a few hours at least. Sure. Alex, I think you couldn't have said it better in terms of all the people that we had who really made things go behind the scenes. Internally, this was the one where we were the most prepared. We had everything available way in advance, and it was really thanks to our internal teams who coordinated it and made sure that we saw in advance when there was for instance, we had one issue where we were launching a feature in advance, but it was only available in the new UI, and we were launching the new UI after we launched that feature, and so they flagged that in advance and made sure that we ordered things around so that it worked out the way that it should have.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised on how many teams participate in these innovation weeks, how many people really do the effort of putting things out specifically. It's great to have deadlines as well for that. A lot of work, but also a lot of satisfaction, I think, at the end of a full week like this. In terms of the typical call to action, people that want to, as you said, share their feedback about the new dashboard, about the new features, they can, right? Specifically.
Yep. We are always on social media, so if you're using hashtag Cloudflare or even hashtag Security Week to share feedback, we'll definitely be able to take a look at those kinds of things, and we definitely encourage it too. The good, bad, and the ugly. We're hoping to get better from those kinds of things. So good call out there. Absolutely.
Makes sense. Last but not least, if you had one thing that people should take from this week, what would that be? Adam, do you have one? Alex?
I'd say that look out for those efforts that we undertake around simplification of our product areas. I think that our belief across the board is have the configurability, have the depth of our products for those that are interested, but don't get in the way of those that prefer or look for opportunities to set something up simply, to have it there and are more secure in the end. I think that we had that pretty consistent throughout this security week. So keep looking out for those features. That'd be my one takeaway from this year. Yeah.
Mine would just be that we're looking to solve the security problems not only of today, but the security problems of 5 years from now. And if that sounds interesting to you, then we'd love to work with you.
Great one.
Makes sense.
That's a good one.
I would say simplicity, making simple, plug and play. Don't worry too much about it. Go to the dashboard every once in a while and just get a sense of what's happening is really a cool perspective. With AI there, helping and building stuff on AI, also participating. Definitely an interesting one. This was great. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us. This was a good session, and it gives us one last opportunity to think about and to share Security Week at a glance, at least. Yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect, and that's a wrap.